In this video, I'm going to talk about how we withhold love for ourselves and we withhold approval for ourselves because of the external. So we go through life, and if we haven't achieved something externally, or we aren't where we want to be, you might start to notice that there's a part of us that is withholding approval. It's telling us we can't be happy because we haven't achieved the outcome. We haven't gotten to where we need to go, where we feel we need to go. Some place and some time other than the here and now. Some place that doesn't exist yet. But what does that do? Well, in the present moment, it starts to create resistances. Those could be fears, those could be anxieties, those could be tension, those could be sadness, those could be loneliness, those could be many, many emotions that cause us to not appreciate the abundance of what we have here and now. And it results in you not fully being here, being in this exact moment, because part of you might want to be in a slightly future moment, or maybe way in the future, or maybe even in the past, although that's not a pattern that has really affected me too much. So when we don't approve of ourselves, we don't feel good. We don't feel good in the moment. And we think we need to do things to approve of ourselves. We feel conditioned to achieve an outcome, achieve success. If you are somebody like me that has been brought up in a environment where success is seen as something that's very important, you must succeed, and somebody who's followed self-improvement and self-improvement people in the community, YouTubers, authors, things like that, you might start to develop this pattern, develop the pattern of needing something external to allow yourself to approve of yourself. And don't get me wrong, it can feel great when you achieve something external. You can really appreciate it when that happens, because that is a beautiful thing. The problem is when we start to think we need that external thing in order to approve of ourselves, in order to give ourselves that love. And so when I was at the Tony Robbins event, something that came up for a lot of people, including myself, was the feeling of not being enough. You feel like you aren't enough. And something that affects all of us, and it affects so many people in society today, and it drives people to do certain things. But if you can approve of yourself in the moment, here and now, you'll start to appreciate the moment here and now. You'll start to enjoy it more. And when you enjoy things more, aren't you a bit more creative? Aren't you a bit more spontaneous? Aren't you a bit more interested in the thing you are doing, the thing you're working on, the conversation? You might notice when you can truly be present and not needing anything from the interaction or situation, your results start to improve, paradoxically. Doesn't mean it will, but often it can. Because we are more present, we are more here, more of our energy is sent out into that thing that we want to do. And when we can do that, we can start to appreciate and be more grateful for the moment, the good moment. We can remember the good moments more. We can feel like we are enough. And when we feel like we are enough, and we aren't so attached to the outcome, we perform better. And we don't feel like we need things from other people, which brings in other people in our lives, which brings more joy and happiness and spreads that. Doesn't mean it will, but it can. So give it a go. Stop withholding the love that you have for yourself. Stop withholding the love that you have for others. That is there, but there are things that are in the way that are preventing you from loving others. Because just as we stop loving ourselves because of some external, we often don't allow ourselves to love other people unless they give us something in return, unless we get something or we see something in the external that allows us to say, yes, I'm now going to choose to love this person. But love is unconditional. True love is unconditional. It doesn't matter about the external. It's about that choice. And I will make another video on that one day. But to end with, this is something that I've been thinking about, especially today. I noticed some agitation as I was sitting and training, and it wasn't as bad as it has been in the past. Sometimes I've been really agitated, sometimes I felt great, but I've just become a little bit more conscious. When I don't feel great, when I don't feel amazing, I start to notice, why is that the case? What is the reason? So I'd like to end with that. Just notice, that's interesting. Maybe I can learn something. And see where that leads you.